And I also look at what's happening across this country. You look at what's happening in Ohio, where they brought in all these illegal immigrants from Haiti, and they have like tens of thousands now in this one little town in Ohio. It's just overwhelming all the services. So you've had a massive open border and deliberately bringing people in and dropping them in certain communities, which you just can't handle that type of influx. So there's a lot to answer for, I think. It'd be interesting to see how Kamala answers this in the debate tomorrow night, because I think it's just indefensible, having been the borders are, and then all of a sudden you have this massive influx, and it's not just people from Mexico. I mean, you got people from the Middle East, you got people from China, you got people from all around the globe that are going across the southern border. I've talked about this before, but Florida, we've got a lot of retired special ops people who were serving in the global war on terrorism in Afghanistan, Iraq, after 9/11. And they still have contacts in places like Afghanistan. And what they said is, once the Biden debacle happened 3 years ago, that these training camps for terrorists were stood back up. And what are they training? They're training to send to the southern border to come across and infiltrate the country that way. They don't even have to do what they did on 9/11, where they had to get visas, and they were expired, but they actually did. So there's a huge amount of problem with what's happening by abandoning the rule of law when it comes to secure borders, and when it comes to really valuing, there's people that would crawl over hot coals barefoot to become a U.S. citizen, to do it the right way. I think it really diminishes what a lot of people have gone through to become a citizen, when you're saying, like, you don't have to be a citizen to vote, that you get benefits if you come illegally, which you do in places like California and some of these other places, the federal government giving you benefit. Someone was asking me about, they had a relative that had been applying to be a visa, it's been tough and all that, and like, what are your recommendations? Like, well, we don't do immigration in Florida. It's a federal issue in terms of a visa, but the truth is, it's easier to just come through the border than to actually apply normally. Like that's just the truth. How did we get to this point in this country where this is going on? So I think there's a whole host of issues about making sure that citizenship matters, making sure that we're respecting the sanctity of what being an American citizen means, making sure we're respecting our borders, but certainly respecting how this works in the context of these elections. And we want all citizens to have their voice. We don't want people who aren't citizens to be participating in this process, because that is not the way this process was designed. I mean, just think about, you talk about like foreign interference. I mean, just think about if we just said we're not going to check to see sure you're a citizen. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen as a result of allowing stuff like that. So we're doing it right in Florida. We're going to uphold the law. I'm confident that if there is fraudulent activity, that'll be referred and done accordingly. If people sign petitions and it looks, for whatever reason, if someone is questioning that, if you signed it, you signed it, and you have a right to sign them. But you don't have a right to submit on behalf of dead people. If you're submitting signatures that are not matching the voter file, that's cause for concern. We want to make sure that all this stuff is done on the up and up.